Welcome to My Why, a series of personal stories that share the history and impact of YPN, the premier provider of prenatal and parenting programs in East Central Iowa. We support, educate, and empower families since 1985. Join us in our mission and learn the why YPN for so many in our community.
Welcome to another episode of My Why, a podcast by YPN. My name is Alejandro Pino, and I am honored and privileged to serve as Executive Director of YPN. And I know you've probably heard me say this before, but one of my favorite things during this podcast is to actually interview my fellow colleagues. And today we are honored to have Taylor. Taylor is currently our Program Supervisor, so this is a position that's fairly new to her, but she has certainly earned it with the great job that she continues to do at YPN. So she works very closely with our participants, but also at the leadership level as well, too, with a lot of our other program staff as well, too. So, Taylor, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much.
So great to have you. Okay, so this is just a conversation. She's a little bit nervous. She's been thinking about this a little bit, but she's going to do a great job. Are you ready to rumble?
I'm ready.
All right. Tell the listeners just a little bit about yourself, just maybe your background, whatever you want to share with those listening.
Well, I grew up in Cedar Rapids. I've lived here pretty much my entire life. I did graduate from UNI with a degree in public health.
Go Panthers.
Yes, go Panthers. We love them here. I have two siblings. They're both younger than me. We have a family dog named Lola.
Lola?
Yep.
Okay.
But then I have my own cat now, who is my child, my daughter. Her name is Ivy.
Yes.
Yes.
And we talk about Ivy every day, I think.
We do, yes.
That's very cool. Are you thinking of getting more cats or just...
Eventually someday, but probably not right now.
But not like 10?
Yeah.
10
not 10.
Okay, good.
No.
All right, awesome. Tell us a little bit, and I still remember the time where we interviewed you because you obviously stood out during that interview, when you first started at YPN, but what led you to the organization?
So I was doing my internship at Mercy,
Yeah.
And I was in their corporate wellness department, and my supervisor at the time was just setting me up with everywhere I could to just network and meet people. And I came to YPN and I was like, oh my gosh, this place is amazing. And I was immediately asking, are there any positions, or like, are you guys hiring? Like, what kinds of jobs do you have? And they were like, we're not hiring right now. And so when I was applying for jobs, I just kept looking and I saw that there was a parent educator position open. So I immediately ran to my supervisor and I was like, YPN's hiring. And so I was really, really excited. And it was immediately I was ready to start working there.
That's good. We could tell right away that you would be a great fit and that you would bring a lot to not only to the organization, but to the participants who are here to serve. So super lucky to have you. So thanks for that. Obviously you've had the opportunity to work with the families at YPN and really just to kind of get to know them at a deep level, because that's one thing that we always try to strive for is really we never want anybody to think they're a number. Right? That they're a person that we're here to support, educate, and empower them as well. But how do the families at YPN serve, to inspire you on a daily basis?
They truly do. That's the thing is, they're going through so many different things in their lives, whether that's, just adjusting to life in the U.S. or struggling with custody or, even more pressing things like domestic violence or even just meeting their basic needs. But I think something that's common with all of the participants is they truly want to be the best parents that they can be.
Yes. So
we had a group Zoom class a few weeks ago, and we got to have many languages kind of working together. And just hearing the stories of I might have started YPN because I needed help and I, needed assistance with diapers or stuff like that. But I'm still here because my goal is to actually be the best parent and provide the best life for my kids that I can.
Yes.
And so just seeing that is what their focus truly is so inspiring to me.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. And we have to, and I say this often too, is that we just have to remind ourselves that we should be so proud of that.
Yeah.
Right? And we typically, don't have group programming virtually, but I think it was one of the days where we had 25 inches of snow or something like that. So we had to
just one of those days
to adapt. But we never like canceling our program because we know people want to be there, and they make the effort to be there as well too.
We had so many on Zoom too.
Yes.
I was so blown away by that.
Yeah.
And even the participants were we loved mixing languages and hearing from other groups because it was just so inspiring. And I know like even Jim Brown had said like this is one of the most inspiring nights we've had, just to have that conversation with everyone.
And for those in the audience too, Jim Brown is a longtime volunteer and also a board member as well, who has just been instrumental in really the growth of the organization in many respects too. But yeah, we heard a lot of great feedback from that particular session because it really was kind of a cross-cultural discussion, which doesn't often happen. I don't think there's many other places where that, discussion happens so openly like that. But it also serves to remind us that even though we all bring a uniqueness to this world, we're really not that different. Right? That we all want the best for our kids, and that we all should be here for one another as well too. So thanks for sharing that. That was a very powerful moment as well. So as you kind of think about your journey at YPN, and certainly we hope that you're with YPN for many, many years, how do you hope to impact YPN staff and family?
I think something that I have really focused on is just being that support, because, anyone can kind of teach people how to do stuff, and we can go through our curriculum and we can do that. But a lot of what the families and even the staff needs is someone that will listen, someone that they feel they can trust and that they can come to, and just someone that is supportive and is there to help them. And so that's something that I feel like I have really focused on. I try to learn all the names of the families and try to make sure that they all know that I do care about every single one of them.
Yes.
So that's something. And even with the staff, like that's why I'm always checking in with everyone. How was your day? How was your weekend? What do you have going on tonight? Stuff like that. Just because we are people, we're not just here to work. We're here to, live our lives. So, yeah.
So you brought up a perfect word during that answer, is care, right? We all just have to take that time to care for one another, because really we should all be here for one another. We all go through struggles and challenges, right? So the more we can be here to uplift not only one another, but our participants, just imagine the power of that. And I think sometimes we underestimate that power that we each have, right? To just change somebody's day and potentially life. So powerful. So thanks for all that you do in that respect too. So one of the other things too that we certainly have seen throughout the time I know I have been at YPN, I'm sure you have too, are just some of the changes with the families that we serve too. So maybe could you tell the audience a little bit about some of the changes that you've seen?
A big change has just been like adjusting to life in the U.S. We do have a lot of families that are coming from all over the place. So just some of them, they're learning how to use a washer and dryer for the first time, or they're like taking English classes, or some of them have never driven before and they're getting their learner's permit and learning how to drive. I think that has just been a huge adjustment for many of them.
Yes. That adjustment is not easy, right? And it takes so much effort on the staff part too, and we love it. We love it, but it takes that little extra to help, all these beautiful families transition to their new environment. It's not an easy thing by any means, right?
And sometimes, you go into a home visit expecting that you're going to do an activity or do stuff like that, but it's hard to do those things when the basic needs aren't being met. And so sometimes that is what you tackle is, okay, let's get this SNAP application filled out. Let's figure out where you're going to go to childcare. Like, what are we doing for that? And so just getting those basic needs met can sometimes be the pressing issue before you can even get to the things that you're necessarily planning on doing.
That's right. And it goes back to your word, care, right? We wouldn't be doing these things if we didn't care. And that's why we have such an amazing staff, just like you. So as you kind of talked about the needs, the needs of the families, certainly one of the topics of discussion with the populations that we serve are barriers. We as an organization always try to kind of cut down the barriers for everybody. But as you look at kind of the community, what are some of the barriers you see for our families?
I feel like the biggest ones are housing, childcare, transportation, and then English for those who are not native English speakers. I know that there has just been a lot of struggles with, finding housing. If you ever have an eviction on your record, it's so difficult to, even if you've turned things around and you have a stable job and everything like that, you still are struggling to find somewhere that will accept you, or just paying for those things in general, especially for some of the families, like I said, who don't speak English. It's difficult and they're, maybe a single parent. finding a job and then they have to pay for childcare. And so it's just like, it's all very connected. And so that is a major challenge. Or, sometimes people, they make a little bit too much money to qualify for assistance, or maybe their immigration status doesn't allow for assistance. And so then they're trying to make ends meet, and you have to prioritize, like, what am I going to use this on? And it's just a major challenge.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just imagine if we all worked together, how much of an impact that would have, right? And you nailed all the topics that we usually hear, the childcare, transportation. Just imagine if families didn't have to worry about the cost of childcare, how that would significantly change society.
Yeah.
Right? And the families that we serve.
And we don't, and like for transportation, like we don't live in a walkable city. So like, if you don't have transportation, it's very difficult to get really anywhere. So like, that's why I love how for group we provide transportation.
Yes.
So we're getting rid of that barrier right there for families.
Yeah.
But just, there are so many and they are all connected. And so if you fix one, it might help some of the, of the others.
Yeah. That's what makes our work very interesting as well, too. There's always something that we could do to improve. So the other part, too, that you mentioned that we do, and we're proud to do this, too, is advocating. Yeah. Because oftentimes the families that we serve don't have that voice sometimes, right?
Or they might not even know that that's an option.
Exactly right. Yeah. So that's a great honor for us to be able to do as well, too. So as we start kind of wrapping up our interview, one of the obviously most important questions is, what is your why? And so hopefully you've had a little bit of time to reflect on that, because that's the intent of this podcast, is to kind of define everybody's why. So how would you define what is your why, Taylor?
Well, I would say originally my why was that I wanted to help people. And while that is still true, I think something that I have learned is, while I'm teaching families a lot of things, they're teaching me things too. And so I learn so many things every day when I come to work, whether it's about, their different situations, or like my favorite thing to learn is about their cultures. Like I have put a lot of effort into learning just about, learning some words from the different languages and just connecting with the families. Yes. And so that has really impacted my life, because I just feel so much more connected to the participants. And I feel like while I teach them a lot about, navigating the U.S. or, parenting in the U.S., they're teaching me so much too, whether it's about their culture or just, caring about everyone else. So
love it. And that is why we do what we do, right? And I do have to give you a lot of credit as well. You have gone up above and beyond to connect with the families. I think you've learned a little Pashto and Dari for the Afghan families, and they see that. And very often when they come to the office, they will only want to talk to you because of that connection, right? That you've made with them as well. So great job on that, Taylor. So I always like to end the interview with asking a fun kind of question, and you don't know which one's coming, even though you have the list of 4 there. So let's do number 4. If you weren't in this role, what other work would you see yourself doing, and why?
Well, I did study public health, like I said, which I do see public health every day in the work I'm doing, because it's very prevention based. We're wanting to prevent child abuse. We're wanting to prevent, just the things that these families could be going through. So I would say probably something along those lines. I am a germaphobe, so I'm not quite sure that the disease prevention facet of it would scare me or not. Yeah. But I really liked doing kind of like the health and wellness type things. And I've been helping AP with planning wellness activities for our staff.
Have, and we appreciate that.
Stuff like that is fun to me, but I'm very happy with YPN right now.
So one of the great benefits of is it germophobia? I don't know. Is that the office is very clean, so we appreciate that.
Oh,
very sterile. So Taylor, and hopefully, you've enjoyed this experience, because we are so fortunate and honored to have you as part of the organization. And I know, obviously, our board, other staff members, and our participants are also just as fortunate to have you do the great work that you do. And especially, I will go back to the word that you used, is the care. The care that you bring in everything that you do really is striking. So thank you so much on behalf of all of us. We appreciate you today and always. And I want to thank the listeners for joining us on another episode. So please keep checking for future episodes, and take care, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to My Why, a YPN podcast. We can't make our impact without your support. Please consider donating to YPN. Your gift will make a difference. Visit www.ypniowa.org/give to donate today.